Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. As you can see, this is not my sister, but this is my sister. How about that? So I am excited tonight. Christina is traveling, and so she couldn't make it tonight. And my line sister, my friend of 30 plus years, is here in the area. And I said, girl, you gonna come on, hey sister, tonight, because we gotta have a conversation. And yes, we are women of a certain age, gonna be talking about women of a certain age things. Hey, Jody. Thanks for tuning in. Say hey to Jody. Hey, Jody. Thanks for watching. So if you're watching live, we want you to join the conversation in the comments. If you're watching it in the replay, please comment because we do go back and check our comments and add once the show is over. We also want you to share this with someone who may not currently tune into Hey Sister on a regular basis and let them know. Please follow us. Please subscribe to us on YouTube and follow our content there and engage with us on a regular basis on all of our social channels. So this is my dear friend. So we're not doing hot topics tonight. In typical Hey Sister fashion, we talk about hot topics, but because my friend don't really watch the news like that, we can't talk about hot topics. So
I got my own news. I can't be tuned into other people's stuff. I like to make up my own.
So she make up her own news. Hello to our beautiful line sister, Spar Mom of Two, who is watching. Yes, so but there are hostages being released over in Israel and Palestine, and there's war still going on. We got crazy Congress here. We have a cold front that's covering the whole country because it's raining and snowing everywhere. What else is hot topics? That was our summation. Okay, we're gonna do it like that. But let's get into this conversation about being women of a certain age. So this year we both are celebrating our jubilee. We are both turned 50. We're 1973 babies. And let me say something about 1973. I don't know if you even know this either. So we know this is the 50th of hip hop.
Yes.
Did you also know that this is the 50th anniversary of a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving? No. And so if you know anything about Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, that was the first time Franklin appeared on television, a black child in that cartoon. So that's another thing. 50 years ago. Let's see what else turned 50 in 1973. There's so many amazing things that happened in 1973. So I'm just saying, if you don't know, you need to know. 73, if I must say so myself. I
stopped with my birth and thought that was enough. I'm just saying.
Oh, Jody, why you said that, Jody? Franklin sat on the side of the table by himself in a broke chair.
See?
We ain't talking. We ain't going back. I don't remember that. So we definitely, like I said, we had hip hop. We had some other big things happen. I don't know. Production assistant, look it up. Tell us. Wow. But so tell me, how are you feeling to be a woman of a certain age? Tell me how you feel.
She keeps saying that, and I be like, what certain age are you talking about? I feel as young as I feel in the moment.
Okay.
And at the same time, I celebrate being 50. I'm not ashamed about it. I'm not shy about it. I actually want credit for every year that I have lived. I have been through and lived through some stuff. I don't know about owning elder status just yet, but I appreciate being 50. And I like to say I'm as old as who I'm keeping company with. So sometimes that's 70-year-olds, sometimes that's 7-year-olds, sometimes that's 25-year-olds. And I just roll with the flow. So I feel good.
Okay. Well, that's beautiful. I like that perspective. I think that so I believe that, it was told to me at 40 that life begins at 40. I really felt that, embraced that, and because there was just so much. It's kind of like a point where kind of clarity and wisdom aligns with your ability to actually do things. Like, oh, I have a certain level of freedom, experience, economics that I actually can. It all kind of merges together. And I really do think it takes till about 40 for that to even happen for most of us. Like, oh, I can actually not, I can, we travel, but it's different from the road trip to I can actually go somewhere where we could do it on our own. You know what I mean?
I think the difference for me was that I stopped living in other people's boxes
Okay.
at 40.
Okay. Talk
So
more.
I still like our road trips. I was doing me. I literally was enjoying life. I technically moved out of my parents' house when I was 16. So I was footing the bill for everything that I was doing. So I didn't feel that necessarily. But I clearly had been given expectations, and everything I did was trying to live up to those expectations. And it was at 40 where I was like, why am I trying to wait till I'm old to say what I want to say and do what I want to do? I'm about to start saying and doing it now. Not that I hadn't been, I just had been trying to mold it in a certain way, to look a certain way. And I think at 40, I probably stepped outside of that box and was like,
so do you see a difference from 40 to 50 for you?
I wouldn't say that I necessarily do, because I move around, I travel a lot, and I was very intentional in beginning to travel. I remember for my 40th birthday, I wanted to take a trip, and I have not stopped taking trips since 40.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, look, Jody says I'll be 58 in less than 2 weeks, and I am not ashamed. Don't be ashamed, girl. Ain't no need to it. That part. She looks talking about freak show that part. Okay. Listen. Maybe my life experience is a little different, but absolutely. No, it absolutely is good. I think it should be different because we're different people, right? But I also know that I think for me, I think there's a more consciousness and awareness of being intentionally present and in the moment.
That's an important word.
Yeah.
Being intentional.
Yeah. And being like really being intentionally like I'm gonna try my best. Now sometimes listen, it's hard because we still it's kind of that juxtaposition of living in the now but planning for the future, and the understanding that okay, what that future is, what it holds, what it looks like, it's happening now, right? Every moment that we're in the present, like we're writing the history of our life, right? So it's kind of that consciousness and that awareness that I think was more clear at 50 than it was at 40. And I also think that I think I shared before, we had this Sunday school lesson. We've been doing Sunday school now for years since the pandemic. And we had this Sunday school lesson, and that whole lesson about that Jubilee year and what you should be doing. And the Jubilee year is all about celebration.
Okay, tell me more. I haven't heard about the Jubilee year.
Yeah. So, 50 is a Jubilee year. It's okay. So when we go into the whole thing about a Sabbath year, and so like 49 is so in the Sabbath year, you're supposed to rest. And 49 was the Sabbath year. We were supposed to rest. And I realized, girl, you ain't rested at all.
What scripture is
I got to find it in the book and I'll show it to you later because I can't remember. I got the whole passage. But it talked about even how the year, like they would till, they would, have their land, and every Sabbath year they had to rest. So the year prior,
that was every 7.
Right. But 7 times 7 is 49. That's a Sabbath year for you. 49 is a Sabbath year. I had a lot of people pass away and didn't make it to their Sabbath year. So that's why it became, when we did that lesson, it was like, oh Lord, I should have been like resting my dang on nerves so I could be all in jubilee and jubilation in that Jubilee year. I'll get the scriptures for you. But that
one I know. I just didn't equate 7 years to the 7 times 7 is 49.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Listen, I would say if you in your, let's see what else has happened. Okay. In 1973, Schoolhouse Rock premiered on ABC. Okay.
Okay.
You know about Schoolhouse,
I mean, I
right?
know
You know, I'm
Schoolhouse
just a big,
Rock. Yeah.
yeah. Midnight Special. Y'all remember Wolf, what's the Wolf, the DJ, Wolfman Jack on a Midnight Special. You got to be a certain age of that. On March 14th of 1973, John McCain was released from captivity by the Vietnamese.
Okay.
Interesting. Let's see what else. April 4th, World Trade Center open. 19 man, 1973. Come on, Deisha, with the scriptures, Deisha. Thank you. I knew somebody was gonna have it. I didn't remember it all. But that's what I'm talking about. Yes. So, honey, so this is our Jubilee year, and
So you saying I need to be doing more than what I'm doing?
it should be all celebration this whole year.
Well, that explains my life then.
Hello.
I'm moving and shaking.
Okay, shake and move. Shake and move.
And live it.
Shake and move. Hey, hey, hey. All right, child. All right. So then let's talk about this next topic because this is something that I've been thinking about a lot, and that's legacy. Legacy. I think that at when you're of a certain age, you start thinking more about legacy. I don't know. Have you been thinking about legacy more this year?
Mm.
I'm gonna sip my
I sip your Moscow Mule. I can't say that this year has been significant in terms of doing things in a different way versus living fully in the way that I had already designed my life to be.
Okay.
And so, in terms of legacy, I do think about living my life to the fullest. I do have my nieces, and I don't have children, so I know legacy means a whole different thing when you have children. So, not having children, my nieces and nephews, one of my nieces says, "I'm sure you're the only person that I know that does this, and that," and I'm cool with that because I need you to know somebody who does this, and that. And I'm okay with that. And so trying to be that example in that regard, to me, that is legacy. Helping them see something and be something different than they think that they can be.
Yeah. I think for me as so it's children are to me your children are a legacy, but I think there's other legacies. We've my sister and I have been having a lot of conversations about in terms of what do we leave behind? Because certainly all of this passes away, right? All of this passes away. So what do we leave behind? And the line in the Erica Badu song always comes to my mind when you won't be naming no buildings after me to go down dilapidated. Like I don't want nothing that is material necessarily. Right. But I do know the importance of investing in institutions. So we are really thinking about institutional like giving. We've kind of made a pact that we're going to give to all of our institutions that of higher learning that we went to in our family. We started one. We started with my dad and my mom. So we're going to store. Yeah, so we're going to go hit all of us. I think that is important. I think legacy is, as you said, how with your niece. So I don't have nieces or nephews, right? So I don't have that. I don't know if I will have grandchildren or even live to see grandchildren, right? So for me, it's about what example am I leaving and are setting right now for others to model and or emulate. Do I have a positive impact in people's lives and stuff like that? Those are the kind of other legacy conversations that I think, legacy is what you make it. I think it's absolutely what you make it.
I had a mentor of mine. I actually called him. I was thinking about applying for a job, and it's not something that I necessarily saw myself doing, but I was asked to apply for a position, and I really felt some kind of way. So I wanted to get some perspective about it. And this is an elder white man from Mississippi, so we definitely connected in ways in the work. And he said, you've been in the work for more than 10 years now. So, if you're not going to do it, who's going to do it? And I was like, that ain't the answer I want to hear. But ultimately, he was speaking of a responsibility that we have, more so in institutions to transform institutions, kind of like in the anti-racist work. Sometimes I have been guilty of saying that our generation has dropped the ball because our parents wanted us to have what they never had. So they gave us more. And then what I see with my family and friends is that are my age, that they even give their children more than what we had. And we've created I'm going to use the word irresponsibility in a way, because they feel like things are supposed to come to them. There's an entitlement that comes with not having to have worked or to understand that your parents gave it to you, but they busted gate to get it,
right,
and that being missed. And so in my conversation with my elder, he really was speaking to me about how, he groomed me in a sense, and that I still had a responsibility, whether it was going to benefit me personally,
right,
but that I still had a responsibility in society to pass on the knowledge that I knew and to do my part in the transformation process. So to me, in essence, there's a professional legacy as well.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned professional legacy. So last week we had our friend Alwyn on, who we grew up with in Thibodeau, and he's worked with NASA, and he's working on a project now. Like he said, this project now, because of course they're trying to go to the moon and they're trying to go to Mars, and so he is the project manager where they're creating this lab on Earth that will be able to mimic the new, because the International Space Station is going to crash into our atmosphere in 2030, he told us. I was like, you mean 7 years? So that's going to be, but they're build with the stuff that they're building, this new modular stuff that they're building. So he's over this lab. And he was like, this is going to take, he's like, this is like a 15, 20 year or more project. And he was like, it'll take me through to my retirement. I said, oh, and then it hit me. I was like, wow, a lot of people in the work that you do, they never see the fruits of their labor. Right? It's like you're literally working to pass the baton and leave something behind that you will never see come to fruition. I was like, that's legacy, and that's deep. And there's a lot of people who are committed to work. So like you're even saying, with the work you do with anti-racist work, does it ever end?
It doesn't ever end. And we have a phrase, because people often will say, well, I'll never see the fruits of my labor, or I'll never see this in my generation, or I'm working on behalf of my children's children. And I'm like, okay, but I think about the Montgomery bus boycott. Absolutely, they wanted their children's children to be able to ride the bus, but damn it, they was walking and protesting so they could ride the bus today. Right. And so I think oftentimes the intensity that we do the work can be lacking when we don't see ourselves as receiving the fruit of our labor. So I think it's important that we do need to understand our impact, as you're saying.
Yeah, boy, it's deep. I would love to hear anybody have a comment on legacy. If you want to drop in, what are you thinking about when it comes to, in terms of legacy, your own legacy, whether it's with your immediate family, extended family, friends, organizations? Like, what does legacy mean to you? We got a couple more little fun facts as we kind of dive further into into some of these things. Let's tell you what else happened in 1973. Now, this is a hit. Okay, June 15th, Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye was released. Okay, and it still slaps today, right? I mean, Let's Get It On.
I would have thought that one came out earlier, and maybe that was how it was conceived.
Child, he had other songs you might have been conceived on. I don't know. June 7th of 1973, I Will Always Love You was recorded by Dolly Parton. And if you've never heard the original, you just have to watch the movie called The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's where she originally sang that song, and she sang it to Burt Reynolds, I believe, in that movie. Anyway, child, see all the things you learn when you listen to Hey Sister.
And we thought Whitney was one.
Yeah, no, that was a Dolly song. Okay, Now, all right, women of a certain age. I got derailed. Did you watch the football game the other day? The Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day?
Of course not.
You did not?
Why would I waste my time watching the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I live in a house with a Dallas Cowboy fan, okay? And it was Thanksgiving and it was football. Did you see Dolly
I did not.
Parton? Google right now. Google on your phone right now. Dolly Parton halftime. Just Google it right now.
I'd rather save my data.
Baby, listen. If you saw Dolly Parton at 77 with that Dallas Cowboy cheerleader outfit on, you know you need to make a comment right now. Yeah, okay. See, she's a Dallas Cowboy. Listen, let me tell you. Google it. See, you're gonna make me have to look it up on here and switch back and forth. See, because listen. So I will say,
so Dolly has always worked to keep herself up. Is that what you're saying?
Girl, look at Dolly.
That's called plastic surgery.
I know.
If you want to.
But listen, but everybody plastic surgery ain't doing that.
Dolly ain't plastic surgery. Ain't working for her up close. I'm sorry, Dolly. We love you, but
well, see, she got this shimmer thing, so she's making the skin illusion of the skin because that's the bodysuit. That is
it's all about illusion. That's the word you just. For women of a certain age, illusion works on your behalf.
Listen, Dolly Parton and Jane Fonda, who were both in 9 to 5, because Jane is like 82 now. Yes, they may have a little nip tuck. Girl, I ain't mad at your nip or your tuck, because look, she was showing out in that outfit. Yes, she was.
I'm gonna need y'all to start showing out in your outfits.
I don't mind. I think I give what needs to be gave.
Yeah, gonna put on the little cowboy. Well, yeah.
I'm not, because I got other stuff going on, so that's a whole nother conversation.
Catch me in February.
Okay.
I'm putting Dolly to shine. She older than me, but I thongs.
Yeah. Well,
that's one of them boxes I got out of.
Okay.
I can walk around with my parts, my assets out, and be quite all right with it.
Okay, girl.
As a woman of a certain age, I know what I'm doing with mine. Okay. I'm not worried about what you think I'm doing with mine.
Okay. Well, give me some.
I'm saying.
I don't necessarily have hang-ups about walking around a certain way. I will say, though, I am probably more conservative. I think, and I've always have been a little more conservative.
And if any of y'all have seen that class of 95
I was covered, but I was cute. I was covered.
Class president.
Yeah.
Class president, or I'm just saying, ain't nothing conservative. You was out there before we was out there. Come on now, but you have to be out there.
It was a dress.
It's okay. You look good, but you was not our definition of conservative.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know.
You was cute. You was
Thank you, Disha. Thank you very much.
Whatever, Disha.
Anywho, all right. Anyway, so I would say that would be a legacy too that I want to leave behind, is a legacy of health, of wellness, because I think people forget, like,
the self-image
and positive self-image, because I remember, like, especially with Jane Fonda, Jane Fonda started doing the aerobics and the videos in her 40s. Like, she was probably closer to 50 when she just started taking care of herself in a very intentional way, and really started a whole genre that wasn't even there, and doing those videos, right? Doing workout videos. And even her divorcing her husband, like she said, this is the best husband I had, but it's like he is not fulfilling me anymore. Leaving Ted behind, that was a big when she left. Listen, because I'm like, when you're a woman and you get to, like, because that's really a certain age, 80s, like, you really but part of she's always kind of charted her own path, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Um,
No matter what path it is.
No matter what
if
path
you
it is.
have decided this is what you want to be about, and you decide that and you do it for yourself, then that's what women of a certain age do.
Okay. Well, let's look. Let's see. 1973, July 2nd, the National Black Network begins operation on the radio. So that's what's her name? Oh man, I forgot her name. I see her face. I'll come back to her name. The owner of that. August 6th, Robert Clemente inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. That don't really mean much to me. October 5th, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album by Elton John is released. Okay. Jolene. She said, Jolene, do anything you want, but just please don't take my man. That's what Dolly said. October 15th. Anyway,
you know all this stuff.
I know music now. and November 20th, a Bandit Luncheonette released by Daryl Hall and John Oates, that album. And Daryl Hall and John Oates are in a whole dispute right now. Yeah, you know Daryl Hall and John Oates. I can't go for that. No. No can do.
Okay.
They also say, Sarah, smile. Won't you smile for me, Sarah? Okay, never mind. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about relationships and dating.
They didn't sing that song, speaking of relationship and dating. I was like in the 4th grade because Mr. Knox was my teacher, and he used to say that's not what that song say. Who sang that song that was talking about one-on-one?
That's calling up.
I know.
One-on-one, I wanna play that game tonight. That's right, honey. What you know about one-on-one? Honey, yeah. Man eater too? Whoa, here she comes. She's a man eater.
They say that? I thought that was.
I thought man eater, or is man eater Duran? No, Duran is. Okay, I gotta confirm because I can't remember. They do say man eater.
I don't know.
Child,
I just knew that one.
All I know is they're in a dispute right now. They've been together all these years. That album came out 50 years ago, and now they suing each other. How about that? Girl, contract dispute, because one can't tour without the other one, and you use that name. You know, it's not individual, intellectual property and this and that, child. It's a mess. But now that's the thing. So we're gonna talk about relationships and dating. Why do people wait to get to a certain age and then they're like, they can't handle simple disputes
and take it to the court?
Yeah. Like, why can't we just say, okay, I'm just saying you have to protect yourself legally.
And sometimes you just get tired of people. And you be like, if you don't believe fat meat greasy, let me show you. Okay. I mean, sometimes it just comes to that.
Well,
and it takes a lot to take someone to court. You really have. Well, I mean, we hear mostly about the frivolous stuff, but I would hope that somebody like Daryl and Oates just really could not come to something that was beneficial, mutually beneficial. And it's not something that's just frivolous. Like you said, I want to still keep touring, but you can't. And so at least have enough appreciation for our work to trust that I'm going to carry it on in the manner that we would have carried it on if you can't do it. And that's wrong, folks.
Right. Or if you're going to carry on, then get a new entity. But if we own these music things, if we own this together, then what percentage do I get? Right.
I mean, I still, hopefully
this broke up. This what happened with the Temptations. This what happened with all the dang groups. Well, can you get together groups and act right? I don't know. Anyway. I'm married. You're single. Let's talk about relationships and dating. My friend here was talking about dating earlier. Anybody out there dating? Because it's all foreign to me at this point.
You should be still dating your husband, ma'am.
Oh, that part is easy. I'm talking about random people.
Random people is fun.
Tell me more.
When you try to make somebody fit in a box that you need for your life is when it becomes problematic and they ain't
Oh.
met you. I can meet people all day, every day, and have a blast.
Okay.
Tickle, pink.
And
That's fun.
okay.
And people, and even I do a lot of online dating. I meet people in person, but I do online date people. And so one of the things men often will ask is, how's this app working for you? It's working fine. The idea is to meet people, to get to know them, to see if there is a mutually beneficial relationship that you can have. When you try to make everybody be the one, that's where you come into a problem. But if you can truly appreciate who a person is and what they present, there's a lot of people I date that I know I ain't gonna ever marry or try to do nothing else with, but I have a good time in the moment because that's just what they bring to the table.
Okay. That. I think, and I think in terms of being present, I think being of a certain age, you kind of get to that self assuredness, right? Where you can do that because you're self assured.
And I would hope that we get to that a lot sooner than I did.
Yes.
I would hope for anybody who's younger than me get to that a lot sooner than I did.
Yeah.
Because, know who you are and know what you want.
Yeah.
And don't settle for anything less.
Well, see, I think that is a big thing in all relationships. So whether it's romantic relationships, friendships, and whatever, business, professional, knowing who you are is such a critical component because so many people only know who they are in the context or construct of what they've been told they should be.
True.
And that is where the friction issue, because most relationships, in my observation, most people's hangups is they haven't dealt with themselves. And so it's always somebody else's fault. It's always projection and what have you.
You were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, but if you haven't dealt with yourself, and I'm not saying it's gonna be pretty or perfect, right? Even if you have dealt with yourself,
or even that is bad.
Yeah,
it's just real. We have in Mississippi, to thine own self be true. You're in a piss poor situation when you lying to yourself. You gonna lie to me all day long and fake in front, but when you gotta lie to yourself, yeah. And there's a lot of people claiming to be happy who lying to themselves because they're living in that box.
Yeah, I definitely I see that a lot, and it's sad, it's disappointing, because you hope and want people to have more than that, for themselves. It's just the way I see the world. I don't know. I think that what is also interesting is seeing people. So my husband always talks about this. He was like, so my sister and I had this conversation. My husband and I talk about this as well, because he was like, we talk about how men ain't gonna be single long. Like if they've been married and like a long time, or and their wife died, they're not gonna be single long. Women, on the other hand, be married a long time, they spouse died, and they be like, I'm good. Like I don't need another money. And it's just very interesting. So we've been talking about that whole men not wanting to be lonely thing. So what do you think about that? Old men they don't want to be lonely, honey.
So, as someone who has a lot of male friends, platonic male friends, men are lonely. So, in a way, I hear you. I know that's always a saying, always a perspective, but I think it's who you surround yourself with. Because I know men who have lost their wives and they have not remarried, and so they too are in that cycle, as we often think women are. I think women. One of my family members say, God gave me one husband, and if I marry anybody else, then I am going against God's principle for my life. I'm like, that's God's That's your interpretation of God.
Yeah, girl, please
and
stop
so
that.
I just think it's embedded in a lot of
If
other
you said
stuff.
death through your part, he dead, so you keep on putting.
Well, in this case, they're not dead, but they're divorced based on the principles in the Bible that says it is rooms for divorce. And I get tickled. I'd be like, you ain't married, but they got married 3, 4, 5 times over, and you still believing that that's your husband that God had for you. So I don't believe, and I believe women will get caught up in some of that self-sacrificial stuff. I think we get caught up in that even in marriage sometimes, which also makes me believe that that's the thing that leads women to not seeking another relationship when someone passes away. And I think that's the way we've been socialized as women to believe our role to be. If you go out and you get somebody else and you really didn't love your first husband, or you just there's all these things that get projected on us that I think we try to avoid those boxes, and we sacrifice our happiness sometimes.
Ooh, child, well, listen, I ain't get to a certain age to sacrifice no happiness. I'm gonna tell you that. Now, Deisha says self-evaluation is very important.
You gonna read that?
If what? If my husband passed away?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would. I mean, it would have to certainly be the person who I would want to. Let's see, we got another comment here. Older singles are having a hard time navigating dating after being off the market for so long. That's why the Golden Bachelor is so powerful. Have you watched the Golden Bachelor?
Haven't.
Please, you're a psychology person. You need to watch the Golden Bachelor. Because I'm going to tell you something.
It's just pain to me. I saw that man was crying. I saw a commercial.
If you have fulfilled your applications, don't stop loving. That's what I'm saying.
Amen.
But look, honey, he been crying. They been crying.
I don't know what happened, but I saw some tears.
I have watched it because it's definitely a kind of a psychological, I think, from a understanding from people's psychology, because he was married and his wife died. Like, he was married for like, I think, almost 50 years, and his wife died. And so, he's 72.
So how long ago did his wife die?
I think it's been 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
50 years? That's not a long time.
It's not.
That's not. I mean, hell, my cousin died. It's 2 years later, and I still be grieving.
Yeah.
So
and he's not grieving, because that is
that the man that was crying?
Yeah.
Oh, he's still grieving.
It's ever present in the show, and some of the women also are widows. Some are divorced. They're different. They're at different things. So it is definitely, honey, it is very interesting. My husband passed away in 1996, and I'm just now ready to date. I thought I was ready years ago, but I wasn't. Yeah, it is definitely interesting to see. But I know other things that people can take advantage of as well. And that's something you have to be so cautious and careful about. I was and I haven't finished it yet, but Jennifer Lewis's second book, she talked about how she got scammed and taken advantage of. And she was in her early 60s at the time, and met a man and this and that, and just kind of like so many red flags that she ignored in the seeking of companionship, because she wasn't seeking necessarily to be in a certain type of relationship, but having a certain companionship at a certain age.
Well, I mean, but companionship doesn't necessarily mean marrying someone.
She wasn't trying to marry. She just was a companion.
So what do you mean taking advantage of?
Oh, he was a scammer. Like, he should have been in jail a long time ago. Like, he was like one of those taking your money, this type of thing. Yes.
Okay, but you're not gonna talk about my sister like that publicly, but there's a lot of things that she brought to the table that would allow for her to be scammed as well. And I don't keep up with her.
But a lot of elders are being scammed that way because they're so desperate.
And I'm gonna be very specific, because she's been very public about her mental illness.
She has. Yes.
So part of her mental illness leads to someone being able, because she's euphoric at times.
Exactly.
And so those are the times where scammers can come in. But was it a scam, or was she just being euphoric and
No, they actually found. I mean, they found that
I'm sure
he scammed many people. It was like he's a whole. They got pages on it.
Well, and so what I will say is, yes, emotional blindness. What I will say is that when you have not taken care of yourself, and that's for, and if you're not self-secure, they'll ask you for things. And if you give it, then is that a scam if they asked you and you gave it?
I think it can be a scam because it could have been setting up. They could be grooming, trying. Listen,
She said in a week.
I know, but I think people groom adults just as much as they groom children.
But if it can, you literally call it a scam if you have not taken care of yourself and just put it out there. It's a scam if you ask me for something and you go about it in a malicious way to get it. But if you say, hey, Charlotte, you know what? I need $200 to do whatever. And I'll be like, oh, okay, I think I know you well enough. I'm going to give you $200. Then you find out. Then I find out that you just was getting my 200, somebody else 200. Then was it a scam? Or was it just me being free and unresponsible in the way that I set boundaries? And I think that's one of the challenges that as a single woman, these are some of the conversations that I hear in single dating, that if we as socialized nice girls, nice Christian girls who are going to get our husbands because scripture says do these things, and we don't set boundaries, people take advantage of you all the time.
I think two things can be true.
They can be.
Yeah, I think two things can be true at the same time.
I don't think we pay enough attention to how we don't set boundaries for ourselves.
Girl, I ain't mad at that. Y'all are tuning in live to Hey Sister, and if you're watching this in a replay, please drop your comments in on this topic, because this is a very important topic that we need to continue to have real honest conversations about, because I don't think people have enough honest conversations about what they're navigating, whether they are married and hey, I'm now having to take care of a spouse who is ill.
True.
I am what does that mean? Because I've told my husband, and hey, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm gonna say it right now, I'm lying. If I'm incapacitated, my husband can have another woman. Okay, I'm saying it right now, because that is not fair. I don't believe that it's fair. But that's me. So don't be saying he's doing nothing wrong, because I'm saying it now publicly on the thing. If I'm incapacitated, I'm still alive and he's still loving and supporting. And obviously he's going to go through a grieving process. But, you know.
You mean after you gone? Or
no. I mean like the situation
where. He don't ever do it. Not while I'm around. I'm just saying. I hope you're listening. I'm gonna need you to wait and be respectful about your time period.
I was saying like the situation with B. Smith with her when she had dementia and her husband. I'm actually okay with that. You need to have these conversations now while you're healthy and of sound mind. I think that is okay. If I am, yes, don't you?
I'm still stuck on the fact that you're still alive and he finna have another woman. Hey, I ain't there. To death do us part, not till incapacitated do us part.
Well, I'm gonna say that, but talk to somebody that at least can listen to your woes. Listen, I know this sister right here, and my other sister, my biological sister, they've already said, like, no, you're not.
So me and okay, we good.
My sister said even after
he don't bring around us.
And my sister said even after I'm dead, he got to have a certain. There is a required morning period. You need to be in this morning window.
What Chrissy said,
I don't know. She said it better not be 4 months. That's what she did say. Let's see, we got some comments over here. I think people are they into these comments. Let's see what we got. They say, oh Lord, I'm hitting.
So it is about having those conversations.
Yes, have those hard conversations. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, we saw that one, and then I felt like he was grooming me, telling me he loved me, he missed me. Child, we haven't met in person.
Well, and you know that they call it love bombing. And narcissistic people do a lot of that in the single dating. But that again, that is about where your boundaries are. You know, a dude could tell me he love me all day long. If I'm clear about what love looks like for myself, I'm not falling for what you're giving.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay, and look, we got another one. It's a no for me as well. Like it's a no for
like
me.
He can't have nobody else. Exactly. He already knew what he dealing with. He knew what he was dealing with when he met us. So he met her, he met us. He knew what he was dealing with. He did. And I don't think he confused about that. She might be giving, but he ain't confused whatsoever. What did he say about it?
He ain't said
a word. He know.
He loved it.
And we like him.
And he loved me. Yes, women must be fiscally responsible at all times. Yes, absolutely. You have to take care of your own at all times. So let's talk about family then. That's the next topic we wanted to get into. Ooh, child. Okay, family.
What you want? What?
So now that you are moving in the circle of life in your family, all right?
Okay.
Family dynamics. And, you know, they start to be like, okay, wait a minute. I'm parenting my parents. I'm like, at least me. It was like parents and parents. I got children. I'm still parenting, but I have older children as well. And then it's like, okay, wait, listen. None of y'all, why is none of y'all listening? And then you have the extended family. You be like, oh, Lord, I got to get into it. Oh.
So I just mind mine.
Okay. You do? Okay, well, tell me more because that's something that is not within my vocabulary yet. Especially because again, we have because we are married, so there's blended family. There are things that are, on his side of the family. Now we do each of us have our respective sides of the family, but there are things that impact both of us in terms of if someone is ill, if someone is sick, and we have to do these affect our household as well, right? So family becomes this really interesting dynamics as we mature and become of a certain age. How are you navigating family at a certain age?
From Texas. No, I mean, I've never been one to hold my tongue. When it comes to health, which is one of the things that shows up in family, is that ain't gonna work. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do something different, mm-hmm. And because I will be impacted by that. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. So I'm very vocal about those things. I'm very vocal about setting those boundaries for myself, and that's one of the things that I've just had to be clear about, mm-hmm. Setting boundaries. It's a joke. It's a joke.
You've been talking about boundaries a whole lot.
Because let me tell you, I be happy with my boundaries. Clear boundaries, I be just ecstatic, mm-hmm. Living my life. But I've said it's a joke in my family with my mom. I'd be like, I hope you got some good retirement money because you didn't come stay with me. Not doing that. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna happen. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna ask everybody, you so mean. No, I done told you ahead of time. This is how I want to live my life. This is the aesthetics that I want for my life. Mm-hmm. And if that ain't what you're doing, mm-hmm. Then what you want me to do? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because some things, some decisions and I'm gonna call them decisions. Okay. Because ultimately, when you choose to live your life a certain way, you have chosen. Intentionally or unintentionally. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna say unconsciously. I don't do that. Mm-hmm. Intentionally or unintentionally chose how you gonna live or what your life is gonna be like. Mm-hmm. Sure, there's some chances that some stuff you didn't factor in, fine. But for the most part, what we're talking about, either you're gonna be intentional in saving money, you're gonna be intentional about how you care for yourself, your health. Whatever it is, there's not much right now that comes to us as a surprise when it comes through the aging process, except when we don't talk about it. Mm. And so
Wow.
we're not intentional in talking about some things. Ultimately, you're choosing to do something different when you know. There's some stuff that I don't know that I don't know.
Right. Absolutely.
And those are not the things I'm talking about. But if I know that at age 80, I'm no longer going to be able to, I don't even know what that is because I know plenty of 80 years old who move around better than me.
Mhm.
So we just have to be intentional about what we want our lives to be like and design it that way.
Yeah, I do believe in life by design. I actually did a whole class on that, design your life. So I actually believe that we can design our life, and we do need to have I think it goes back to those hard conversations, the boundaries.
Oh, you have boundaries now.
But, no, but it's not just you. But I think it also goes to first that quiet with yourself, because like I said, to know who you are and know what your desires are and know what moves and motivates you, or what might be moving and motivating you. And if it's not aligned, that's when you need to start, okay, I need to actually dig a little deeper, and I need to do a little bit more introspection here before I go too far down this road, or be okay with making adjustments.
Right.
Like, yes, I felt this way at this time with this information. Now I have more information. I'm going to make adjustments. So,
absolutely.
But there is the same. I do not ascribe to the same when you know better, you do better, because that's not true.
Not true.
People, when you know better, you have to choose to do better. Right. And some people choose the path of least resistance, because that is definitely human nature. Some people
sometimes it's survival.
Some people choose survival. And hey, honey, I want you to live, so I want you to survive. So I ain't bemoaning you choosing survival.
And everybody has a different capacity for things. I had to learn that. Like the expectations I might have from one person might not have capacity to do it that way.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you have to find that out in hindsight, but different people have different capacities for doing different things or handling different things. And to me, that's giving people space and grace. It doesn't mean that I need to sacrifice. But I can appreciate and understand that you did that way, because that's just where you were with what you had.
I think space and grace is a beautiful thing. And if you choose to sacrifice,
you can.
You can. But then don't hold nobody else to that, because that was your choice.
Yes.
And I know sometimes in family, at least in my family history, my family dynamic, there's like, oh, well, I did this for you. Caught myself right now. I'm about to do a plies on y'all, or too short on y'all. That was your choice.
And did you discuss it with me? No.
And sometimes those are hard conversations to have as you're maturing and becoming of a certain age. Even in our because we still somebody's child, and even though we're an adult. So in those parent-adult relationships and conversations, that push-pull, that's always.
And when you are not aligned, those can be rough.
Yes, they can be. They can be. Ooh, child. All right. So let's talk about something else that's rough for some people. Let's talk about the menopause situation. So the men have paused over here. Okay. The men all paused when I walked up in the room.
All pause, and they all say the same old tune. Whoa,
hey. Anyway, so the menopause has happened over here, but my friend was like, I said, girl, I was in perimenopause for like 7, 8, 9 years. I was perimenopausal.
The conversations we do not have, even with each other.
Yeah. So I've had these conversations with other women. I've had the conversations with my sister, for sure. And we've had the conversation with Dr. Larissa, friend of the show, as well. But this is a conversation that needs to still happen more, and that's why I'm bringing it up again. And there are signs, there are symptoms. I would say this to everybody out there: if you are of a certain age, get you a healthcare practitioner that listens to you and advocate for yourself. If you're having any type of symptom, it might be brain fog, it might be fatigue.
Sometimes you don't even know that's a symptom of something.
Girl, listen. First of all, the 40-year-old shoulder. Have you had the frozen shoulder situation yet? The 40-year-old shoulder situation
What's
yet?
that?
Okay, that's
maybe I had it. Maybe I just don't know what
the
that
frozen
is.
shoulder situation. Look up frozen shoulder. They're like, oh, I went to the doctor. They were like, oh, this the physical therapist. They were like, this happened to all the women over 40. I was like, what? You went to your arm can only go this far? Common. I've had that. So the whole thing with like the hip pain and stuff, because you can hip bursitis, is a sign of menopause, child. I was like, what?
Okay. So there is a whole conversation nowadays, and as someone,
yes, the frozen shoulder is real, and you have to do a whole series of physical therapy to get through it. So if you ever wake up one morning and your arm only goes so far, and you like, what happened to my arm? I didn't throw nothing. I didn't do nothing. I literally woke up and my shoulder only can go this far. It is a symptom. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not. Yeah. I just don't know. If I had it, I didn't relate it to menopause for sure.
Honey,
I was doing something that threw it out.
Look, the estrogen doctor, joint pain, yes, estrogen decline.
I get you. Because the hip thing, as a summer person, I'd be like, something ain't wrong. It just won't shake on this side right here. I didn't know what was wrong. But what I will say is, I still dip. But what I will say is, I am not equating it to the hormonal changes. I am looking more into the storage of emotions that we haven't processed.
Ooh, okay.
And I say that last year I took on a work position that was so freaking stressful that I didn't even realize until I'm 6 months post that work, and I'm just getting back to my schedule, what it feels like to be me, because I was living for handling that position. And I can tell you, within a year, I had a diagnosis of, polycystic, whatever, ovaries.
Oh, okay.
I ain't never had that before, but in a year I got it. The devil is a lie, because I'm still trying to have babies around here. So no, I'm not owning any of that. So I am questioning more than I am owning some of that stuff. I'm not saying that it can't be hormonal, but there's just so much that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, so we definitely need more conversations about menopause, on the different symptoms. So many treatments, holistic, natural, medicinal. Dr. Larissa said absolutely hormones and stress response. It can and PCOS is a real thing.
It is. It is. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying you don't have to give me something more than a year of this life trauma, and now I have a diagnosis where I've not had it before.
Yes, I got you. I think that we do not talk enough about how we hold stress, not in our, emotional core, but in our muscles, is in our muscle memory, and even the emotional triggers and emotional response, things that are held within our bodies. And so how then do we release that? Girl, we almost to the hour, and child, listen, I told you we was gonna have a conversation.
I guess so. I was like, well, a certain age.
She was like, what are we talking about? See, this is all the things we need to talk about.
We need to have a lot more. I'm a therapist by trade, so I believe there's a lot more conversations that we're not having that we absolutely need to have. And so I hope you take every one of these things that we talked about. If you haven't already, just dive deep
Okay, let's dive deeper. Well, I will say this. So, friend, my hope for you, my wish for you, this is how I'm gonna close. My hope and my wish for you
It's
is,
time to close.
girl, yeah, we usually just do an hour, so we come up on our
Okay.
time. So my hope and my wish for you is, in the words of Al Green, love and happiness. How about that?
Absolutely.
So wish you love
I
and
got that right now. Love and happiness with somebody else.
Okay, well, if that is a desire of your heart, I hope that you have the desires of your heart.
Yes, thank you.
And that you continue to evolve into more of the woman who you want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's my
Thank
hope for you.
you.
What's your hope for me, girl?
That your husband ain't trying to marry somebody else and you come become, because I'm still stuck right there. What did she sprung that one on me?
He's still stuck
But
over
I'm
there,
still
child.
stuck.
Okay.
No, whatever your heart desires. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, to that, we're going to toast. Cheers. And we're going to sign off. Thank you for tuning in live to Hey Sister. We appreciate y'all for joining. Share this conversation and let's dive more into these topics, because Dr. Larissa was like, yeah, and the PCOS and the late 40s or 51st diagnosis would recommend other things too. She got some other things to recommend for you.
Okay, let's talk.
Y'all definitely got to talk.
Please.
Yes. All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.